M2 Auto Japan. We've been waiting for a while for these vehicles, and I think these are quickly going to become fan favorites. 1/64 scale die-cast collectors, JDM race enthusiasts, and just car aficionados all over the place are going to love this selection from M2, released early August 2017, available exclusively at Walmart. Got a 6-vehicle set here, 3 different castings. First up, the 1971 Nissan Skyline Gtr, both in rally race tampos as well as a relatively stock version. Then we've got the 1969 Nissan Bluebird 1600 SSS, also a race version and a civilian stock version. And finally the 1970 Nissan Fairlady Z Z432, once again a racing version and a stock version. We're going to get all 6 of these awesome vehicles out of their packages for a close-up look and detailed review on these amazing, well-detailed, highly intricate, and very sought-after cars. Before I set this collection of cars free, let's take a quick look at this awesome packaging. Sturdy cardboard box with the clear Lexan plastic display case inside and platform. And Auto Japan, I assume that's how you say Japan. And on the back we've got the silhouette of the country of Japan behind the M2 label. Special M2 features. It's also across the front, of course, with the window taking a notch out of the country. These are limited to 8,800 pieces worldwide. That's a higher production number than typically seen from M2 cars that are released, usually in the numbers between 3,000 to 5,000. But M2 got this right by making a higher production run on this series, as it is bound to be very, very collectible and sought after by more collectors than typically just people that have been buying M2 traditionally. If you find this set in the store at Walmart, this is the display case that all 6 vehicles will fit in. And even with those higher production numbers, I think you're going to find this is a tough series to complete and maybe even find. So I bought mine through online sources because I just couldn't wait, and I really wanted to review this for you guys while these cars were still fresh. Here's a look at each of them in their Lexan display cases without the cardboard. As you can see, they display very nicely if you have a shelf to put them on, or you can even stack them up and display them just as such. One step closer to being completely set free, I've got the clear display boxes off of the cars, so they are still fastened to their platforms. And I've shut the hoods on these cars. They all have an opening hood. And rubber tires, of course, lots of little details, which we will explore now, starting with the Nissan Skyline Gtr. Check out this awesome little car. So many details on it, right down to the tread pattern on the tires, individual headlights, the mirrors on the front of the forward fenders. Just terrific details on these cars. Look at the little tailpipes in the back. Awesome interiors, right-hand drive just as they should be for these authentic Japanese cars. What a beauty. So that's the rally version. And now for the stock version. No racing tampos on this one, or decals, but the same beautiful details right down to the silver trim around the windows. Beautifully crafted cars. And now on to the next model, the 1969 Nissan Bluebird 1600. Really popular rally car, popular amongst collectors as well, with a very rich racing history. It's got a chrome muffler under the back with a single tailpipe. Even the little bumpers are painted black on the chrome bumper. Bluebird license plate, transparent red taillights, and that silver trim perfectly painted around each window. The quality in these cars is just terrific. True 1/64 scale. Here's the stock version. White lined tires on this car, which is really cool. Chrome hubcaps or chrome steel rims. I should say. Just beautiful little castings. You can see why these are going to be so popular. Once I set the cars free from the base, we'll examine the engines and look under the hoods of these vehicles. Now we've got the 1970 Nissan Fairlady Z 432 with racing tampos. Bumper delete on this one. It does not have the front bumper. And let's zoom in on those tampos on the side. Goodyear on the tires. Just exquisite. The rear bumper delete as well. Reverse lights painted, signal lights, brake lights, and the proper badging as well. Very finely detailed. And finally, the civilian version of that car. Check out those clear headlights. Painted door handles. Little emblem, the Z emblem behind the back window. And there's the bumpers on this car. You can see those are the stock bumpers that would have been equipped on this model. Alright, let's get these cars off their platforms and check out what's under the hood. Free at last! There the cars are with their hoods open. We'll zoom in for a close look at some of these beautifully crafted, detailed engines under the hoods. And as you can see, M2 has spared no expense on the realism, getting all the paint colors correct, and very detailed overall. Awesome that they can get so much detail into such small models. Some interesting, authentic arrangements on how these hoods open and close. And they all open and close very nicely, other than the last car, the silver one. I didn't want to force the hood. As you may have already noticed, I suffered some consequential but minor damage upon opening the car. One of the little mirrors came off the front fender, but these are just surface glued onto the fender. There isn't actually a pinhole into the metal, so that can be easily reattached with some hobby glue and some probably little needles, little needle pickers or whatever, little pinchers. Get that back on there. That's one of the things you have to be careful of when you're opening up such finely detailed small scale vehicles such as these, is they are not toys. They are definitely meant to be displayed for the most part and enjoyed perhaps on a static display. However, that being said, M2, I often get this question about M2 cars on how well they roll. Every single one of these cars rolls fantastic. So much so that if they weren't so delicate, I would consider racing them down the Hot Wheels 6-lane raceway. But all very nice, smooth rolling cars with no wobbly wheels. This has been a problem on some cars in the past when you open them up, but it's a problem that all scale detailed manufacturers face with the rubber tires and the highly authentic wheels. So nice to see that they seem to have addressed these issues completely on this set of vehicles. Oh, did I speak too soon? What's going on with this one? Got a little bit of a stiff back wheel. It was rolling statically, but maybe it wasn't. Anyways, beautiful models. Really like to have my cars loose like this so I can display them on my Plano cases. And another thing to note is how nicely detailed the chassis are. Very authentic, right down to the spare tire dent in the under the trunk portion of this car. Assembled with Phillips head screws. Let's look at another model. Let's look at the Skyline. You can see that spoiler on the front. Very heavy vehicles for their size. Certainly no issues with quality in the construction materials. And of course all the information on the bottom of the car so that you don't necessarily need to keep all the packaging if you want to remember all the details on these very nice models. Now in the background you may have noticed I just brought out a model kit. This is a 1/24 scale plastic assembled model kit made by Tamiya of a Nissan Fairlady Z 300ZX. This would be about a 1983 or 84 model, and would be really nice to see M2 create a casting for that car if this Auto Japan series continues forward, which I think it will, based on how popular and how well received it is already. So if that isn't already in the making and M2 you're watching, wouldn't that be a nice addition for the lineup? Also just below it I have some since retired Hot Wheels of the Nissan 300ZX. Some actually pretty nice models for Hot Wheels cars, considered they're more of a toy. These were released in the early to mid 1980s, featured opening and closing doors, all metal construction, and they even had suspension back then. So just a couple from my collection. Also, to show you the scale of this collection is perfectly spot on, and if you have like a Nissan collection of cars, you can basically assemble them all together and they look pretty nice together. So anyways, I'm very happy with this set of vehicles. Good job, M2, and looking forward to what future releases are in store for this wonderful car, or wonderful series I should say. And if you're out looking for these in the wild, happy hunting and good luck.